should be right.
Tim and I are continuing our adventure to health and energy, and we want you to come with us. Today, we're gonna make a fast, fun family dinner. Most of us are really short on time these days, but that doesn't mean we need to be short on health. Hey, Tim.
Hey.
Are you short on time ever?
Yeah, that happens.
A lot, I'm sure.
Yes.
Especially with the baby girl and one on the way.
Yes.
But doesn't mean we need to be short on health. So today we've got 3 great recipes. We've got a retro Italian salad, then we're making stir fry on the fly, and we're making a creamy Italian pie. You're not gonna wanna miss any of it. So sit right there, but come with us as we get cooking this fast, fun family dinner. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna make is our retro Italian salad. And before we do anything, everybody needs to make sure whenever you get in your kitchen, good tip is to always wash off the counters with soap and water. Make sure you have a different cutting board for your meat. That's a really good tip because you always wanna keep your meats separate from your veggies, fruits, anything else. So for this salad, we have 5 main ingredients for the salad. So Tim's gonna start. We've got, instead of bacon, we're gonna use Canadian bacon. So he's gonna slice up we need 4 ounces, and how many's in that pack? This is just an easy way.
Ounces.
Okay, so instead of you don't need to keep a food scale around and measure or weigh everything. So just kind of eyeball what 4 ounces would be. And he's gonna slice that up and we're gonna saute it. Now, the coolest thing about Canadian bacon is it is, number 1, delicious. Number 2, it's extremely lean. We don't want to use bacon. I know I'm offending a whole bacon cult out there.
Yeah.
You're probably one of them, aren't you?
Well, I try to stay away from it, but
Too much, yeah.
occasionally you got to splurge on it. I have.
Right. Well, and one of the reasons why it's not a good idea to keep in your adventure to health is because of that white strip it's most of the bacon is that white strip, and that's all saturated fat. So as that cooks up in the pan, all that oil is produced, and then when you take it into your body, it cools down to 98.6 degrees and hardens up right next to an artery.
Kind of like you ever forget to clean the pan for a little while and you scrape that out.
All that white, all next to your arteries.
That's resting in there in your arteries.
Right. Well, our adventure to health does not include clogged arteries, so we are going to use Canadian bacon instead, and we can go ahead and get that in the saute pan. And so he's going to get that into a hot pan just to kind of sear it up, because I think a warm ingredient in a cool salad tastes delicious. It's fabulous. Now, Canadian bacon is actually a great swap out too, instead of using any kind of pepperoni. Like on your pizza or in a salad, pepperoni for just a few of those rounds is 22 grams of fat. And it's responsible for all the oil that's swimming on top of your pizza. Okay, well, we're gonna go ahead and get started on our salad. And what I've got here is you need a head of romaine lettuce. Now, I'll often combine red leaf. You can look for that in your store, just a different kind of lettuce, and romaine. This time I found red romaine, so that's what this is. They're always kind of making new versions of things. Take off just the outside leaves that are a little bit bruised and some of these tops. Okay, so we want to take our head of romaine lettuce, and here's a quick tip for cutting it. Of course, make sure it's washed really well, and then you can either tear it up or you can just take your knife and make vertical cuts. It's kind of funny to talk about how to cut lettuce, but there's an art to everything. So make vertical cuts, and then what you want to do is make horizontal cuts. So then you just have nice, big, bite-sized leaves that we can use in our salad. Now, look at all this. This is gorgeous. An important point, you guys, I got in a habit for a while of buying those pre-bagged lettuces that are, like $3 to $4 a pop. It's about half as much lettuce as you're gonna get in here, and this cost me about $1.50. So imagine this little guy costing $6 to $8. That's how much you are paying for when you buy convenience. So everybody remember, convenience costs extra. Just keep that in mind. Buy the regular head of lettuce, take 2 seconds out to wash it, to cut it yourself, and you're saving so much money. Now, the other thing you can do, if you've got kids around, make sure they wash their hands, and you can let them tear up this lettuce. Or if Tim's around and he's not doing anything, you can let him tear up. You want to finish tearing up the lettuce for us? And look at how much this is making.
Just tearing some off here.
That looks so good. And the dark leafy greens are the ones that are the most nutrient packed. The more color a food has, the more rich in nutrients it is. So our dark leafy greens are going to be really rich in vitamin K and vitamin C and lots of different minerals. Okay, so to this salad, we are going to slice up a red onion. And because I kind of want to keep the rounds, what you want to do is just slice the bottom of the little guy so that he's got kind of like legs to stand on. And then take a sharp knife. And you know, that's another important safety tip, you guys. A sharp knife is much safer, I'm sure you know this very well, than a dull knife.
For a clean cut?
Yeah, and because you know where it's going to go. What do you?
I was just joking, I said a clean cut.
A clean cut. Tim's a little scary in the kitchen sometimes.
Yeah. No.
Okay, so just very thin slices here.
I'm going to set this over here in the sink, okay?
Okay. And the onion fumes are heading my way. Onions are great cancer fighters. And one of the reasons why they're so healthy is because the things that are healthiest for us smell the strongest. Like garlic, onion, color the darkest ginger, which we're going to use later today in our stir fry. And then we want to add a can of olives. You want to sprinkle those on for me? So those are just black olives that have been sliced. So they're packed in water. All you have to do is open them, drain them, and put them on your salad. Olives are so cool because they're high in fat, but it's a healthy fat called monounsaturated fat. And what monounsaturated fat does is it goes inside your body and helps defend your cell wall. So it's a healthy fat that you need a little bit of. You don't need a ton, but you do need a little bit of it every day. But the coolest thing about olives is their monounsaturated fat is paired with vitamin E. And vitamin E is really super good for your cells and for your skin. Tim, if you want to go get that Canadian bacon and we can put that hot Canadian bacon on the salad. It's going to be so good. And the final thing that goes on it is a cup of low moisture part skim mozzarella. Now most of us, you didn't know that you were getting part skim mozzarella, but this is the kind we all use. Mozzarella made this way is just extra healthy because it has less fat than regular. And we want about a cup, and then we'll toss this whole thing together. You can go ahead and pour that on there.
Okay.
And that's why adding this extra cheese on there, kids and adults, everyone is going to love the salad. It's so delicious. And eating salad is a good way to help regulate your weight and increase your energy. So, on to our dressing. Our dressing is so easy. There's just a few ingredients. Do you make your own dressing at home, Tim?
Occasionally my grandmother did. Growing up, she was Italian, my whole family.
Yeah,
Italian.
we've got an Italian right here in our
Yes, my mom's
kitchen.
whole family was originally from Italy, and then I grew up, they owned an Italian restaurant. And
Okay, cool.
Grandma Vera's of her restaurant, yeah.
Oh, so that's why you named your daughter
that's
Vera.
where Vera, yes, got her name.
Well, we got a little history on Tim there. That's cool. Well, I didn't used to make my own dressings, and it's so easy and it's so much more healthy to do it, to make your own, because if you look at, next time you're at the grocery, just wander through and look at the label, the ingredients list. Remember, that's our source of truth. So it's better and easier to make your own at home. And super duper simple. Apple cider vinegar, most of us have this hanging out in our pantry. You want 1/3 cup of that. And then I'm gonna use 1/3 cup of Splenda. Most of my patients and clients, a lot of them have diabetes. So I go ahead and use Splenda. Very, very simple.
I use it in a lot of stuff.
Do you?
Yeah, I make a
so
salad,
good.
a coleslaw with no mayonnaise, no cream. It's literally just oil, vinegar, Splenda, salt, and pepper.
Okay.
Mixed together, and it's really good.
Sweet.
And it's healthy, and
We'll have to make that next time.
It's very good.
Good. So then a packet of Good Seasons Italian mix. This stuff is fabulous because you can throw it in anything. I'll mix it with chicken broth and baked chicken in it. It's so good. You want to whisk this for me, Tim, while I put in a little bit of oil. Now I'm going to put in just about three tablespoons of olive oil here. And then what I like to do, typically a dressing like this, you would have like 1/2 cup of olive oil. But I just use a few tablespoons, and then I cut it, go ahead and whisk, and then I cut it with a little water. That way we cut down on our fat, because even though olive oil is a heart-healthy oil, it's still 9 calories per gram. whereas carbohydrate and protein are 4 calories per gram. Fats are always 9. So you still, even though it's a good heart healthy thing, you still gotta watch it. Okay, so our salad is completely done. This dressing is sweet and you guys are gonna love it, but we're gonna wait to eat it until after we finish our stir fry on the fly. So sit right there and we'll still be cooking when you come back. So we're continuing on our fast, fun family dinner with a recipe I like to call stir fry on the fly. So what we want to do for our stir fry on the fly is we want to start off, we've got some water boiling over there, and Tim is going to add about 4 to 6 ounces of whole wheat pasta. Pasta is so inexpensive, and you can use it to bulk up a meal that's filled with meat and veggies like this to feed more people. Now, make sure you get whole wheat because that's going to be the highest in fiber. And it, as we all know, we don't get in enough fiber. Most Americans get in 5 to 9 grams. We need 30. That's how many grams we're missing. Now, Tim, you use that kind of pasta at home, right?
Yeah, I use whole wheat, or we use, I also been using the quinoa, which is...
Quinoa, yeah.
Yeah, it's a grain. It's not necessarily pasta.
So now we've got about a pound of boneless, skinless chicken breast or chicken tenderloins, and we've got those, gone ahead and chopped them up. And Tim's gonna add that to our super hot pan ready to sear. Something about chicken though, when you get it from the store, you can go to your meat cutter or your butcher and ask him to go ahead and chop it up in stir fry pieces for you. That way you don't have to handle it that much when you get home.
Keep it clean. Something my mom always said, she'd always say clean your chicken before you eat it. So you rinse it off under the sink and just kind of clean off any grime. Well, when my brother first started cooking, he was probably maybe 18, right before he went to college. He was eating healthy and he was going to make some chicken. And she said, well, make sure you clean it first. Well, Tom took that literally. And he assumed that when she said clean it, he thought it was strange, but went ahead and took out soap, hand soap, and cleaned the chicken.
Are you serious?
Yes, and then cooked it and told her it tasted funky, Mom. And I'm sure most of the soap cooked off, but we have a good laugh about him cleaning the chicken with soap. So you don't need to go to that extreme, obviously. I like to give it a good quick rinse, at least kind of clean any grime off before we even cook with it, deal with it. So,
right, throw it in the dishwasher.
No, nothing like that. But yes, he actually cleaned it with soap. So.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yes.
That's hilarious. Well, we can go ahead and get that on.
All right.
Is he older brother or younger brother?
This is my younger brother.
Okay,
yes,
sweet.
my younger brother.
So you get to tease him a lot about that.
Oh, definitely.
Well, something that you want to remember, we talked about salmonella, and that is a foodborne illness that can literally kill. So you have, especially when it comes to chicken or any meat, make sure and use, you saw Tim had a separate cutting board.
See, this is...
Oh, wow, it's hot.
Yeah, it's hot, so it's ready to go.
We got that hot. So use a separate cutting board. We've got a nice plastic cutting board over there that actually has a picture of a steak on it. So any family member knows that that's going to be the meat cutting board, so you never have confusion. Salmonella, you've got to be careful because you don't want chicken juices splashing everywhere because salmonella can live for weeks on your countertop. So for our stir fry on the fly, we've got our chicken searing over there, so we're going to let that sear, and I'm going to chop up, I chose 4 low-cost veggies for stir fry. Now something that you can do if you can't get a hold of fresh veggies is you could easily use a bag of frozen veggies if you need to fly even faster. But I like to keep it as fresh as possible. So what I'm using is first we're gonna start off with the zucchini. So cut them into workable parts. Like I just cut it in half, and then you can cut it, I call these half moons when you cut them like this, or if you've got a super large zucchini, you can go ahead and cut it into quarters, okay? And so now we will just slice down into big chunks. And if you noticed on my zucchini, I left the peel on. No reason to peel a zucchini. In fact, most of my veggies I don't peel because what does it increase? Just increases your fiber intake. Not to mention, most of the good nutrients and antioxidants are going to be in the skin, so you want to leave that on. So we'll put those over to the side for Tim to throw in after the chicken we want the chicken mostly done, and then we'll throw the veggies in. The next thing I'm going to chop up is a small bunch of green onions. So we want about a half cup, and green onions aren't as potent as if we would cut up like a yellow onion or a red onion to add in here. And I like to cut these on the diagonal because food tastes different if it's cut different, right?
Exactly.
All right, so what we're gonna do here is cut these or peel these into carrot ribbons. Just take your peeler, and what we wanna do is make carrot ribbons right here. And carrots are one vegetable that you do need to take the outside peel off. So the part that's been up against the dirt, you want to go ahead and take off. But then the rest of the carrot, just go ahead and make beautiful carrot ribbons.
You know, we talked about this chicken. It's now no longer sticking to the pan, so it's ready to start to get turned here.
Tim, are you burning our chicken over there?
It got a little hot, so just clearing out some of the smoke here. A little bit, opened a window.
Do we need to call your fire friends and come down here?
No, we don't need to let them know. I've burned enough things for them too in the past.
Are you serious? It's good when you've got a fireman's kitchen.
It happens occasionally.
Okay.
All these stoves are different, so you know that's going to be my excuse. Takes a little time.
I trust him. Remember, he's Italian. He knows how to cook.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to have you add these beautiful veggies over there to that super hot skillet.
Yes.
And then, so we've got our zucchini, our green onions, and our carrot ribbons. And so you can throw all that into the skillet. And then along with that, we're gonna add a cup of frozen peas. So like I said, you could use an entire bag of frozen veggies if you need to go really fast. I love frozen peas. I keep buckets of them in the freezer because there's so many things you can do with them and they're so good. And they're gonna add a sweet crunch to our stir fry on the fly. So we want about a cup, I'll trade you.
They're great for a black eye too.
They're great for a black eye, look at that.
You know, really, honestly, if you actually, for real, if you twist an ankle or something, if you ever go to a trainer, they use those bags, bag ice will conform.
Okay.
Peas, frozen peas conform great to like an ankle injury or a knee injury, so it conforms right around the knee. So you can ice with that bag of
double
peas too.
Double use for your frozen peas. Use them on your kids' injuries as well as in your stir fry on the fly. Now, the cool thing about a pan like that, well, and about our chicken has iron in it. Iron's a mineral we need every day. And our pan, we're using a cast iron skillet. When you use cookware like a cast iron skillet, your food naturally picks up some of that iron. Do you not know why that's important? Because we need to know why that's important. So come with me and let's learn about iron real fast while Tim is manning the kitchen over there. We'll leave him there and we'll be right back. Let's go. So let's talk about iron. Iron is a mineral that's found in your body. Yeah, iron, in the way you think of iron, you've got about 4 grams circulating in your body. And you are especially at risk for being deficient in iron, especially if you are a woman or a child. So let's talk about for a minute what a deficiency looks and feels like, and then we'll talk about the foods that have iron in them and ways to get iron in your body. Okay, so first of all, take a look at this little guy right here. He is a red blood cell. You thought he was a Cheerio, but he's not. He's a red blood cell. And if you notice, this little red blood cell is deep, dark red. And that's exactly how you want your red blood cells because that means they've got the right amount of iron on them. And this little guy, on the other hand, see how he's light pink? That means he doesn't have the right amount of iron on him. Now here's the difference. Look at these 2 cans. This vessel with red blood cells, look at what this blood is going to look like. Dark, rich red. We'll stir that up a little bit. And then on this side, this person's blood isn't very dark at all. So over here, what we see is blood cells that have the right amount of iron also have the right amount of oxygen because oxygen will only go where iron takes it. In other words, iron is like the truck where oxygen hops on for a ride. So look at this blood right here. Somebody without the right amount of iron, somebody that's iron deficient, also called anemia, isn't going to be able to get oxygen to every cell and every tissue and organ in their body. So see the difference? What kind of blood do you want? I know which one I want. The most important thing though is somebody that's deficient in iron right here, somebody that's anemic, they are going to feel tired, lethargic, have a hard time concentrating. You might also have brittle nails or get dizzy because, once again, oxygen isn't getting everywhere in your body the way it needs to. Now, the other thing we need to make sure we're doing is getting in foods that have iron in them. Now, look at some of these foods, you guys, that have iron in them. Meat, like we have our chicken or turkey or red beef, is going to be one of the best ways to get in iron because it's heme iron, which is the easiest kind of iron to absorb. There's other vegetable or non-heme iron sources, everything from pumpkin seeds to lentils to raisins, fortified cereal, spinach, blackstrap molasses, beans. There's a whole array of foods that have iron in them. Now, even then, iron is hard for your body to absorb because it's a pretty hard mineral. But here's a secret tip. Iron likes to be absorbed with vitamin C. So it's almost literally like iron and vitamin C are best friends, and vitamin C takes iron by the hand and whisks him up into your body and into your blood and lets him work for you. So if you happen to have a child that is iron deficient, when he eats a hamburger patty, serve a couple slices of orange or a couple slices of red bell pepper, which are super packed with vitamin C, or squeeze lemon in your water, all different ways to pair vitamin C and iron. Isn't this amazing? So this is how iron is working for you. So that's why iron is so important to make sure the right amount is working for you in your body and blood. Now, Tim has been cooking up our veggies and our chicken. And Tim, if you would get me just a little bit of that pasta water, because I'm gonna need it as we make our sauce. Now, you could certainly use your own sauce from the store, but if you look on a lot of the bottles, like bottles of marinade or bottles of stir-fry sauce, you're gonna see that they're high in, guess what? If you've been sticking with me for a long time, you know that they're probably gonna be high in sugar. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna drain that pasta.
Okay, so for our sauce is just 4 ingredients. And it starts with peanut butter. I know it sounds weird. I know most of you are going, huh, peanut butter? But trust me. And then we're gonna add to that 4 tablespoons of soy sauce. And I use light soy sauce because light soy sauce has plenty of salt. So mix these two together. It's funny when we talk about peanut butter, most of us use peanut butter for peanut butter and jelly and peanut butter in sweet things, but the rest of the world often use peanut butter in savory dishes. Okay, so then it's gonna get kind of thick. You see it's kind of like a paste now. And so we're gonna grate a clove of garlic, just 1. Go ahead and grate it up. Get them in there. Okay, so I think grating garlic is so much easier than chopping it up. Grate up the garlic, whisk it in there, and then, Tim, I'm gonna have you whisk this for me if you would. Then about a ½ teaspoon of ginger. Now, I know most of us don't have ginger around, but I'm gonna convince you to keep it at home. It is a root, it's an underground rhizome, and it smells out of this world, you guys. If you like Asian food at all, you're gonna love ginger. Look for that little root and grab some ginger, just snap some off, take them home and try them in different things. So we want about a ½ teaspoon in here. It's very potent. So you only need a little bit. And the coolest thing about ginger, I call ginger a superfood and a super healer because it fights nausea. It has the power to fight nausea, studies have shown, better than Dramamine. So if you get nauseous, if you've got a plane ride and you need to, let me pour some of this, then we're gonna add some pasta water, you guys, just until it gets to like a honey-like consistency, and then we'll pour it over our stir fry on the fly. So if you're flying and you need to calm down the nauseous stomach, put some ginger root in your purse and take it with you. When I was pregnant,
I was gonna say, you've talked about.
Oh my goodness, I was married to this stuff. I would sleep with it by my nose because I was nauseated. Okay, and so now let's throw our pasta into our serving bowl. And this kind of a dinner, you guys, you can feel so good about feeding to your family because there's good carbohydrate, there's lots of protein, lots of veggies that are gonna be just made better with our really good sauce. That pan's gotta be heavy and it's gotta be hot.
It is heavy and hot, so what I may do is have you
yes.
scrape it in there for me because it is with cast iron and being so hot here.
And now we wanna pour the sauce on, and then we will toss the whole thing together. Okay, and now is our favorite part because we get to try it. It smells out of this world, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. There's all kinds of flavor you can smell coming from this. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Pour a little bit of dressing over it. over here. And if you want, right before you serve, you could pour the dressing over the entire salad and then mix it up. But don't do it until right before you serve because lettuce can tend to wilt. So let's give, oh, it's so delicious. Tim hasn't tried this before, so I'm eager to see what he thinks. You like that?
That dressing is awesome. Yeah.
Good, isn't it?
Yeah, so is the Canadian bacon.
It's so good for you. It's good enough for firemen, firefighters, keep them energized. So we just got one more thing to make, but you can get both of these recipes at survivalsecrets.net. And then stick with us as we finish up with our creamy Italian pie because it's coming your way. Okay, so our final recipe in our fast fun family dinner is a creamy Italian pie. And it is so simple, you guys, and you only need a few ingredients. And here's how it starts. You want to take a cup of milk, and you can use skim or 1%. I'm partial to 1%, but whatever you've got at home is fine. Just pour a cup of 1% milk into a saucepan. And our saucepan isn't on yet because we want to give it about 5 minutes. And the reason is we're gonna sprinkle over a packet of Knox gelatin. Now, Knox gelatin is just plain flavorless gelatin. So you can find it in the aisle with the rest of like the Jell-O gelatins that you see. But you can make your own Jell-O and gelatin using Knox. We're gonna let it sit for 5 minutes because it's gotta do it's called blooming. It's gotta bloom, which means the gelatin's gonna kind of set up. So we'll just leave that alone for right now. And then right behind it, I want to get started on our sauce for our Italian cream pie because I make it with a strawberry sauce and it's so good. And it starts off with, there's actually just 2 ingredients in this, so it's really easy. It's a bag of frozen strawberries. Now, frozen fruits and vegetables were one of our budget power foods because sometimes fresh fruits can be expensive, especially if you live in Yankee Land and it's in the middle of winter, you're not gonna find too many fresh strawberries around. But next to fresh, frozen is best. Remember that because these have all the good nutrients and all the good fiber still hanging out in them, and there's no added sugar in here. So I want most of the bag of the strawberries, and just to jazz it up a little bit, I'm gonna add half a bag of frozen raspberries too, because I know Tim likes raspberries. So we're gonna use a little bit of frozen raspberries. And I've made this before, you guys, and added orange zest or lemon zest. You can just kind of make whatever flavor you want. And then we wanna add a half cup of Splenda. So we've got that in there, turn that on medium heat. Okay, so we've turned that on medium heat, and then we just want to cover it, and it's gonna do its thing. You don't even need to thaw the berries, anything. They are just gonna melt away, and then we'll show you what we're gonna do with it later. So 2 ingredients in that, frozen berries and Splenda, that's all you need. Okay, it looks like our milk and our gelatin are set up and ready to go. And so then you add a half cup of Splenda, and you want to put this on low just so it gets warm. You don't want it to boil. So just stir the gelatin and the Splenda around. Once your milk is slightly warmed, we want to take it over here to our blender, and we're gonna pour it in. And it's just slightly warm, so it's okay. And then what I'm gonna have Tim do here, is take this, you should be familiar with this.
Yeah, I got that.
You Italian man, yeah, ricotta cheese. Ricotta cheese is simply a cheese we think of in only what?
Oh,
Most
you think
Americans think
probably
of.
lasagna.
Only lasagna,
or
yeah.
Stuffed shells. My grandmother always put it in stuffed shells.
Okay, but it can be used in dessert just as easy as dishes like lasagna. So it is gonna be almost the main ingredient of our Italian cream pie. Now the cool thing about ricotta cheese, that this pie is actually giving us nutrients. Sometimes I call it the triple calcium pie, but people aren't as drawn to words like triple calcium pie as they are Italian cream pie. Our ricotta cheese, of course, is pumped up with calcium, but it's also got a lot of protein in it. And we use low fat because you're not gonna be able to tell a difference at all. And so we've got our milk in there and our ricotta cheese, and now we just want to blend this on low. Take the top off since it's even, it's just slightly warm, but still take the top off so it doesn't explode on you. Okay. All right, so now we are going to add this Tim, if you'd pour it into this bowl, and I call it calcium pie, and if you want to know, we always think of calcium as being good for our bones, and it is. But if you want to find out even more about calcium and what it does for you, go onto our website, and on there you're going to find kind of like nutrition science tips from me. There's fit tips from Tim and science tips from me about what calcium does in your body. It's fascinating. It's the reason why I love nutrition. So we've got the cheese, ricotta cheese, which is high in calcium, and now we're adding 2 containers of light yogurt. My favorite light vanilla yogurt is this Yoplait Very Vanilla. I think it tastes like vanilla ice cream. And speaking of that, a good snack for kids would be to put this in the freezer and let it freeze about halfway, and once in a while.
Healthier choice.
Well, you told me, wasn't it you that said you put a scoop of chocolate protein powder in vanilla yogurt?
I was going to say, I've done it with ricotta too, actually.
Oh, have you really?
And a little bit of Splenda, and it's a good, and it's a good, change things up if I'm wanting to look to get some extra protein.
Yeah,
so.
well, it's funny, I got you eating Greek yogurt, you got me doing that. Like almost every night I have light vanilla yogurt with a scoop of chocolate protein powder in it. It's so good. It's like chocolate pudding. It's so good. Okay, and now we add a teaspoon of vanilla extract. If you don't have that around, still make this. Who cares? And that's one of the things I like to encourage. Just get in your kitchen and create. Smells so good. The interesting thing about this pie is that there's no crust. This is kind of like a crustless Italian cream pie. But I think, you guys, it's so good. You're not gonna miss a crust. Now the final thing we're gonna add here is about a cup of light or sugar-free whipped topping. So we will just fold that in. Tim, would you do that for me while I prep our pan? So just kind of fold it so the air stays in and it stays light and fluffy. Now how I want to serve this is use a springform pan. If you're not familiar with a springform pan, it's so easy and simple to use. Now what we want to do is just give it a very light spray. Okay, you think it's good? All right, so Tim, go ahead and pour this into our springform pan. And Tim's going to take that back to the refrigerator, and we've got one that's ready. You would technically want to refrigerate it. It's best if you could overnight, but 4 hours at least is fine. So that's how, if you do it overnight, once you have dinner, it's going to be ready in there waiting for you. I make this thing all the time. So easy and so delicious. Okay, so Tim went and got us our Italian cream pie out of the fridge, and here's how I like to serve it. Now, springform pan, what we're gonna do is just take this little lever, and there you go. Look at how pretty that is. And this should, some of this. What I like to do is decorate it with strawberries, since we're using a strawberry sauce. And so here's what we do, you guys. Take a little strawberry, and you just wanna take the little guy and then take a knife, a little paring knife, and cut down, keeping the end intact. And then you can kind of spread them like a deck of cards. See how easy that is? Decorate anything this way. Or you could, if you have some fresh raspberries, you could throw those on there as well. I like to decorate the pie with the sauce too. Is that hot?
Yeah, it is. We'll keep it from hopefully splattering.
Are you okay? Are you getting burnt?
No, not at all.
Okay, so for the sauce, what's gonna make it thick is just us blending it. So let's put it in the blender. Make sure for this one, you gotta take the top off because you do not want the top to explode and hot raspberry liquid to go everywhere.
Yes.
Okay, and so what you end up with is just a smooth, creamy fruit sauce. And what I love about blending it is we're not straining it at all. So guess what we've kept? The fiber. We've kept all the fiber of the strawberries and the raspberries and all those little seeds that are gonna go into your body and do really good things. Now, originally I would refrigerate this since there's steam coming off of it. But what I like to do is serve this sauce alongside the pie, or just take and drizzle some all the way around. I think it looks kind of fun when it's kind of rustic. And now the other thing you can do, like we said, if you don't have a springform pan, you can just put it in tall glasses or mugs or however you want to serve it to your company. Top it with a little strawberry, maybe a little sauce. Tim, you want to get us some spoons so we can dig right in? And try, you guys, when you're making this fast, fun family dinner, get your kids involved, or any family member involved. I am really, Tim, it sounds like your family, like growing up, was a family like mine.
Yeah.
Like we had dinner around the table every night, and life's greatest lessons happen around that family dinner table. So don't skip out on it, because you will find out so much about your kids and your family. Oh man, it's so good.
That is really good. That is delicious, yeah.
Oh, I'm just gonna take this off my rice now.
Well, I'll just take the whole. No, that's wonderful.
Okay, everybody, don't miss out on this one. Stop by our website.
Yeah, check out the website.
Get some of Tim's fit tips while you're on there. Those firefighter in training tips,
Yes.
because we want to take you on the adventure to health and energy. So thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you next time.
Hey guys, just back here again to kind of go over some fit tips or some stuff that can kind of help you. You can do at home. Last time we talked about body exercises, just body weight, push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups. And I'm just going to go through some of those variations that you could do on your push-ups just to make them a little different. Everybody knows the standard push-up. And so what I'm going to do is show you some different ways you can do some push-ups and also dips. And dips, if you've ever seen somebody do, is this motion, and it's going to help build your tricep, back of the shoulder. And a way you can do dips at home, really simple, is just on chairs. I've got 2 chairs set up right here, a good distance apart, and the way you can do it is to make it not real hard. You can keep your feet here and go down to a nice 90-degree angle with your elbows, keeping them in, and dip. Another way to do it, if just one chair if you wanted, you can even just on the back of the chair, step your legs forward and dip. And if you want to make this harder, we can grab a chair. I'm going to grab another chair. Another way you can do this is just by putting your legs up on that chair, and you're going to add more weight to that. And another way to add weight would be, you know, a gallon of milk or a bag of sand or fertilizer out in the garage, but that is going to add weight to that to build that up. If you got a little kid, you can set them down there, put them on your shoulders. And then for our push-ups, some other push-up variations, we're going to be using a chair too. And to kind of work this upper area of your chest, I'm going to put my feet up on that chair. And that way, it's going to hit the push-up differently. Another way to do it would be on the back of this chair. And then you're going to hit kind of your lower chest a little bit. So just some ways at home that you can do a workout, and it's going to cost you nothing, and you can get a great workout doing that.